Rush 2012 has 6 songs. It's 39 minutes long. It was produced by Rush and Terry Brown and released in 1976. This disc has music by Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, lyrics by Pert, and that's now the standard template for songwriting for Rush. This is a prog album. There's no turning back, at least for a while. There's no real connection to trying to sound like Led Zeppelin or any other rock and roll band for that matter. This is a prog album. You hear some of the other influences on here, like country, but this is a big epic prog, and that's what it is. It's not a concept album, although you hear the Neil Peart, storytelling elements throughout it. This is the fourth Rush album in order. Lots of opportunities for Alex Lifeson to shine on this one. Unlike Caress of Steel, not as many opportunities for Neil to just, go bonkers on the drums. Not a great. I mean, he's fine. His drumming is fine. There's just like no real solo spots or anything like that. Geddy shows off his screaming and his singing vocals, both on this album. And he's at the top of the mix again, like Caress or Fly. So, he records these, and I think he helps him with the final mix. And you can tell that they kind of have a sound that they like to follow for their mix. Everything's about equal, and then at some moments, Geddy's usually on top of the music. Sometimes the drums are on top. Alex is on top a lot, but it's pretty evenly mixed all the way through. Okay, it's not one of these unbalanced albums where it's soft and then loud and then soft, and it's not one of those. It's pretty consistent, and it's a good mix. Okay, this is the fourth Rush album. The first thing I hear there is this is the first album where I hear a keyboard, so we'll get to that in a minute. All right. The first track is 2112. It's 20 minutes and 33 seconds long, and it's divided into 7 parts. This is a big, progressive, mammoth, epic song, like the Fountain of Lamneth on the previous release. It's got 2112's got some real rockin' parts, and it's got some real soft acoustic moments. Not soft in volume, but just like not banging away at your head. The time signatures are changing a lot. It's 4/4, 5/8, 3/4, 9/8. They're changing, and that's according to the sheet music I looked at. I tried to count it out. It's impossible for me. I'm an amateur when it comes to that, but I did track down the sheet music. Sheet music it appears to be in the key of C, at least for the first 2 parts. It's a goddamn sad song, 2112. When you just read the lyrics alone, like I did yesterday. I mean, I've listened to this. I've been listening to this since the 90s, and I listened to it a lot in the 90s, especially side 1 with 2112. Not so much in between then and now, but just reading the lyrics, God, it's sad. It's a complex song with the 7 parts, and nothing really repeats too much. Except, the main theme kind of starts and then it comes back at the end. But this one gets the big check mark. It's a classic track. And with some acknowledgement to the website Genius, there seems to be an Ayn Rand connection. Although I don't understand how that is with the story. I've read some Ayn Rand stuff, but I'm not a big Ayn Rand guy. But I understand Neil Peart really is a big fan. So let's go through it. Track 1, or the first part of track 1 is Overture. It's the longest part, actually, at 4 minutes and 32 seconds. This is the introduction to the song with lots of powerful playing by Alex Lifeson. And, it's got the main riff in it. Then the part in the concerts everybody knows and screams when they go, da-na-na-na-na-na, hey, da-na-na-na-na. That's this part. And the verse is just it's just one line at the end, so it's like mainly instrumental, and then at the end Geddy sings, and the meek shall inherit the earth, which I don't know, it's the introduction to the story, so it's something that Jesus said on the mountain, according to it's one of the Beatitudes according to Genius. The second part is the Temples of Syrinx. This is 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and it's a verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And this is the part with Geddy screaming, "We are the priests." Okay, you know it. It's famous. And he's singing that in the chorus. And this part of it is written in the point of view of the ruling class, which is the priests. So this is a very futuristic concept. The priests rule, well, I don't know, the planet or the land or whatever entity, wherever they're living. Maybe it's in outer space. And the priests are just dictating, okay? The third part is where it starts to get interesting, the discovery. This is 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Opens with an instrumental, and then it's 3 verses. That's the whole part for 3 minutes and 29 seconds. And it's very acoustic in nature, with Alex doing strumming and some harmonics at the beginning. And then it speeds up around the 9-minute mark of the song. Lots of acrobatic acoustic guitar playing by Alex. And what Geddy's singing about here is how the hero, or I guess the main character of the story, discovers the guitar. He's literally singing about how look at the strings vibrate. And okay, so it's a cool story that Geddy's telling through the big brain of Neil Peart. Part 4 is the presentation at 3:42. This is verse, 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 and then a guitar solo. So this is just more of the storytelling. And it goes into a big, heavier part, and then a lighter part for, when Geddy's singing, "Listen to my music." That's in this part of the song presentation. The light part is the hero showing the guitar to the priests. And the heavy part is the priests saying, "No, you can't do that. You're rejection." Okay. The fifth part is Oracle, the Dream, and that's at 2 minutes. This is the verse, verse, verse. And this is where the Alex plays this real cool, trippy guitar line in the first verse. And the main character is having a dream. Okay, that's why it's called Oracle the Dream. And then in verse 2, it reprises to the main 2112 overture music that you hear in the first part. Okay, so that they bring that back from the beginning. The main character is having a dream that he's going to go confront the priest, I think. Part 6 is the soliloquy, and that's 2 minutes and 21 seconds long. It's a verse, verse, and then a solo. And it sounds like echo reverb on the electric. By the way, I was listening to this last night when I was walking around. There's a lot of echo on this record. A lot. And a lot of reverb. Almost like, not quite as much as on The Division Bell by Pink Floyd. On The Division Bell, the echo and reverb is almost a little annoying. I digress. Let's table that for when I do the Division Bell review. Okay. There's a lot of echo and reverb, especially on this part. And Geddy singing in the first verse, and then in the second verse, he's screaming because he's the priest. And there's this really huge muscular guitar part by Alex when Geddy leaves the priest, when he's singing that part. And it's just really, he's like way up Alex's guitar part. It's way up in the higher register, and then it's in the middle, and then he's like all over the place. It's just a really excellent guitar solo by Alex. And then so what's happening in this part is the hero is realizing that he cannot win. He's being oppressed by the priests. No matter what he says, the priests are just going to reject him. And, they're telling him, if I were to paraphrase, they're telling him, these are the ancient ways of doing things, and you can't have your guitar. It's not going to work. It's a good story. And then part 7 is the end at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. It's the end of the song. It appears to be like a new riff in this part, but it's a big loud ending, and then at the end, Neil's. I'm gonna assume that's Neil. I don't know who else that would be, but there's like a mantra being played. It's the Pre-Sev one. It's sad, man. It's a good song, but it's. I mean, imagine having a dream like that where you think you've found this big solution, and then the people that are the authorities are in charge. They're like, no, can't do it. It sucks, but such is life. Track 2 is a passage of Bangkok. A passage to Bangkok. Pardon me. It's 3 minutes and 34 seconds. It's a shorter track, but it's definitely a prog track. It's a simpler song structure though than some big epic like Fountain or 2112, where you've got all these different sections and verses and choruses, and it's all different music feeding different parts of the song. This is just one song, so it's a verse chorus solo, and then it comes back to the chorus at the end, and then it ends. And it has this Asian thing going on that that Alex plays. He plays it a few times. It's a cool line. And there's also like a line that Alex is playing that for some reason it reminds me of a Danzig. I can't quite put what song it is, but I'll have to go back and really compare. But yeah, Alex he's got that at the beginning, and then he's playing this real Danzig style type lead, and then it sounds more like a traditional Rush guitar where he's strumming. And Geddy's singing on the train to Bangkok and aboard the Thai Express or aboard the Thailand Express, and it's a good song. It gets the check mark from me, and Geddy Lee says it's a song about smoking pot. I try not to judge or anything, but it's sung in a happy tone, and it's a good tune, and I like it. It makes me happy. The third track is The Twilight Zone. This one is 3:17, so another shorter one. And yeah, this might of these short songs, this might be the coolest one. It's a verse chorus solo, and then that's the whole song for 3 minutes. And it's a song written about the Twilight Zone, specifically 2 episodes. This is what Genius says. I mean, I don't know. Will the real Martian please stand up? And then stop over in a quiet town is the second verse. I've not seen these episodes. I mean, I would have to be a real hardcore Rush as my whole living and breathing to go research it and watch it. I guess if I stumble upon it, I wouldn't mind seeing it. But I haven't seen them. Apparently Neil is a big Twilight Zone fan. I think they all are. And it's a good song. It doesn't get the big check mark. It gets a small check mark. Good song. It doesn't get the big check mark like 2112 does. But of these smaller songs, it's probably the best one, or at least my favorite. Lessons. That's a Lifeson one. It's 3:51. And it's the fourth track, 3 minutes and 51 seconds. This is the one I was saying at the beginning. It's sort of got a country like twang to it, but it's still a shorter prog song. But it could feel, I don't know. You know how on some Yes songs Steve Howe does like a country, or Peter Banks in the old days. Well, the Rush can do it too. Yeah. So where was I? It's a good song. It gets a little check. It's a verse, chorus, and then a guitar solo. If anything, this song reminds me a little bit of Lakeside Park on Caress of Steel. It's kind of got that vibe to it. And I do like, I like Lakeside Park. I like this one. It's all right. Tears is 3 minutes and 31 seconds. It's a verse, chorus, and it's finally for Rush another real sad, depressing song. Not in the same way 2112 is, but It's a shorter um, it's a shorter Rush Depression song. And this is the one where I mentioned at the beginning. This is the first time I've heard a keyboard in a Rush song. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a Mellotron. I'm not sure what it is, but it's pretty. It's in the background, but it's not like they're trying to hide it. It's not playing the melody. It's just background, but it's there. You know. This is a decent track. This is depressing enough where it could fit on "Hand Cannot Erase" by Steven Wilson. It's that depressing. If Steven did a cover of this song, you know, imagine that if he had Nick Beggs and Adam Holtzman, and he could really make it depressing. I mean, it's depressing enough, but Steven could do a lot with it. There's no guitar solo in this song. It's one of the few. I wonder how they got away with it. The final track on the album is Something for Nothing at 3 minutes and 58. So another radio-friendly song. Although I can't say I've ever heard any of these songs on the radio, not even WAPL out of Appleton, which I used to listen to. I don't think they were playing any of this stuff. This one's a verse, chorus, Alex solo, it's back, and then a chorus and a bridge, and then a final verse and an outro. So here we go. This one's different. You know, they've really changed up the structure of the song. And it sounds like one of those big riffy songs. Is this another Ayn Rand song? I mean, I don't know. Ayn Rand has this real political, you know, she escaped communism in the 1900s and came, I think, to America. And she saw Ingersoll Rand on something, and that's how she got her name. She changed her name. But she's got a real, like, self-individualist, like, real power to the people type message going on. I've read some stuff, but I'm not an expert, but it seems like there's something going on in this song, too. I don't know if Neil's made a connection here or not. Geddy Lee is pretty much screaming the whole song. Whereas the song before, he's singing really softly. This one, he's just going all out, Geddy Lee style. This one gets a little check mark too. Okay, no bad songs on this album. So yeah, this is the first true prog album from Rush from beginning to end. It's a really tight writing. You can tell they put a lot of effort into it. It's not a concept album. At least not as far as I can tell. Not with songs like A Trip to Bangkok in it, A Passage to Bangkok. You know, I don't think it's a end-to-end story, but it definitely every song is telling a story. Although the Bangkok one's a little bit silly. There's an Ayn Rand influence, and this album on progarchives.com gets a 4.11 rating. It's deserving. It's deserving. 4 is like it. Good for any prog rock fan. Should be in their collection. 5 is essential. There aren't too many like straight out 5s. I think number 1 is close to the edge. It's got a real high rating. 4 point. It's much higher than 4.11. The big question is this album better than Caress of Steel? I'm going to say, I know a lot of Rush fans don't like Caress of Steel. I think it's really, really good. Excellent, even. I've been reading your comments, so I know how you guys think about it, and it's got, you know, Caress of Steel has a lower score on Prog Archives. If you would have asked me like last week, I would have told you I like Caress of Steel better, like it would be higher in the rankings. I'm gonna call it a tie. Yeah. I'm going to call it a tie. Yeah. Let me think about that. I'm not to the rankings video yet. It's close. They're going to be one after another. Okay. A 2112 is probably better. Just maybe just a fraction. All right. All right. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for listening to the 2112 album review. Highly recommend it. Like and subscribe. Coach Plow Guy out.